Welcome to Environmental SPCC training. This training is designed to provide the physical operations staff at Dallas Baptist University fundamental knowledge of SPCC and the importance of each individual's role in order to protect the environment. The acronym SPCC stands for Spills Prevention, Controls, and Countermeasures. For universities that qualify, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, of the federal government and enforced by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ, mandates that an entity that stores over a certain amount of materials above ground at a facility which could prove harmful to the environment if significant spills were to occur must have a current SPCC plan and train its employees on the basics of these topics. This training should be divided into these parts, concentrating on the most valuable and useful information for departmental staff. SPCC-related spills at our facility are largely focused on oil or petroleum-based materials housed on site. These include our fuel storage area where vehicles and equipment are routinely fueled, and delivery trucks transfer fuel to these above-ground storage tanks. New and used oil is also stored on site inside the mechanic shop area of the plant. Other concerns are oil stored in electrical transformers, elevator hydraulic oil storage containers, waste kitchen grease containers, and the trucks that routinely empty them when on site, and emergency diesel generator fuel reservoirs. These spills generally are caused by accidents from other equipment or moving vehicles, leaking or blown hoses, and ruptures of defective tanks because of age or corrosion. The reason for concern and the problem with spills is that if the uncontained material reached a storm drain and entered in an excessive amount, the environment could be adversely affected. As many of you know, all the storm drains at the university terminate into Ogwen Creek or Swan Lake, either of which drain or overflow to Mountain Creek Lake. Oil contaminants have the potential to harm aquatic, wildlife ecosystems, and groundwater aquifers. Therefore, it is very important that the university recognizes this harmful potential and properly informs staff how to react to a spill of this nature. In prevention of the spills described, above-ground fuel tanks shall be inspected monthly by the Environmental Safety Manager and by J8 equipment on an annual basis for signs of seepage, spillage, and degradation of storage tank material, and ensure that they meet inspections and testing of codes and standards. The tanks are outfitted with internal secondary containment overflows with monitors that sound alarms if fuel walls have been breached. In addition, the university staff also has the responsibility to observe and report any leakage of fuel when in the area. The new and used oil tanks in the mechanic shop area shall also be inspected by the Environmental Safety Manager on a monthly basis. These units also have secondary containment reservoirs located underneath the tanks in an effort to prevent possible leaks from reaching the floor and shop drains. However, any staff member that is in close proximity to the new or used oil tank site should always be observant to spills or leakage of these units. All electrical transformers shall be inspected monthly for seepage or leaks, but it is also the responsibility of all staff who may be working in the area of a transformer to be observant and report oil leaks immediately. Oil reservoirs are constructed within transformer units as cooling for the coils inside. It is also important to note that transformers operating with too low an oil reservoir could heat up and have the potential to explode. Consequently, It is imperative for all physical operations staff to be observant in these locations. Incidentally, DBU transformers have all been upgraded and do not contain oil with PCBs, which stands for polychlorinated biphenyls, a synthetic material with dangerous environmental residual qualities produced in the U.S. before 1977. All elevator oil reservoirs shall also be inspected on a monthly basis by DBU maintenance personnel and by United Elevator on an annual basis. These units have controlled access with locked doors and are only accessible by maintenance personnel, and is where the responsibility resides for leak and seepage detection. Kitchen grease containers shall be also inspected monthly by the Environmental Safety Manager. These units are double-walled for durability, but should be observed by any staff working in the area for any evident leak or seepage onto the ground or street. Emergency diesel generators also contain fuel tanks that are included in the University SPCC plan. Any employee who works near one of these service units, whether university-owned or rented, should be observant and report any leaks or seepage immediately. So, if we have a spill, how do we control it? The very first thing to do is to notify your supervisor immediately of a spill while you are en route to collect containment materials from storage. Do not take all the responsibility of containment onto yourself. Your supervisor also needs to react properly to spill occurrences. Containment procedures include the use of barrier wattles, absorbent pads, and absorbent materials. After the spill is controlled from further travel to a storm drain, cleanup shall be directed and disposed of by the Environmental Safety Manager. The proper waste stream shall then be determined to dispose of waste materials or soil that has been affected. Important documentation must be compiled by the Safety Manager with oil spills and proper historical records maintained for policing governmental agencies. Containment materials are located inside yellow barrels, which have been placed at strategic locations campus-wide. Ask your supervisor if you are unsure where these barrels are located. The materials inside the barrel include wattle barriers, absorbent pads, and/or absorbent bagged material. It is also important to understand that grass wattles do not apply here and should never be used to contain an oil spill. These are designed for silt barriers only. In the event of a leak and collection of control materials, it is critical to identify the nearest drain that could be affected by the spill. Watch the next short video narration on this subject. So here we are in the field, and if we had a spill beside this transformer, first look for the nearest storm drain downgrade from the spill. And you can see it over about 10 feet away. So this is where you'd want to place the wattles and absorbent material. You could use the pads on the spill or to cover the storm drain, and then use bagged absorbent on the spill itself. So here we are again in the field, and in the event we had a leak at this transformer and it came over the sidewalk and down into the curb, the first thing to do is look for downhill the nearest drain that could be affected. And you can't even see it in this video, but it's about 200 feet away. So we would have more than ample time to correct and control a spill in this area. Well, we've come to the end of this training session, and we hope that you feel more informed after this podcast on SPCC and how to control oil spills. It's time now to go on to the other related lesson materials and exam.